Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to the Careering Podcast. I am your co-host Kelsey, and as always I am here with the wonderful founder of Careering 9, Melissa Davies. Hello.
Oh, you called me wonderful.
Yeah, because you are wonderful.
Oh, today.
What's going on, buddy?
What is going on? Well, we are just picking up where we left off from our last episode.
Yeah. So what we did our last episode on big career challenges or big things that we had to deal with in 2023, big sort of themes, and we did mine, but we didn't get to do Melissa's, and she's not getting away with that. So we are going to make sure that we talk about yours. So Melissa, tell us, 2023, what was the biggest challenge? What was the hardest thing?
The hardest thing this year was managing my priorities, actually. I said yes to way too many things.
Just because you were excited or?
Yeah, it was actually. I think I touched on this in our first episode of the season that this year was relentless and that was all my own doing because I just said yes to really cool things. So it wasn't like things came at me and I wasn't sure and I said yes out of guilt. I said yes out of wanting to genuinely do these pieces of work and they just all happened to happen at the same time. So
of course.
Yeah. So the big challenge was on top of my sort of running my management consulting business and managing client work through that and sitting on 3 boards, so the governance work, I then also added in taking on lecturing to the 2 undergrad subjects, which was pretty much a full-time job for a semester. And I also took on like a nearly part-time client contract around that same time. So it was just a little much. And I think pre any health issues, I probably would have juggled it. I probably just would have doubled down and got through it and smashed it out and been okay with less rest.
Yeah.
But the next episode we're going to do is I'm going to share a bit more about the health issues because it is actually one that's really important for women in particular, but also just a good reminder for all of us around taking our health seriously. So I'll go into that in the next episode.
Teaser.
Yeah. Listen in for more.
Rate us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, continue.
Okay. I like that we now sing in this podcast.
Oh, look, what I lack in skill, I make up for in enthusiasm.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Don't ask us to sing karaoke.
Absolutely not. I will scream. I will not sing.
I'm a good backup dancer. Actually, define good, not good. I'm enthusiastic. Exactly what I lack in talent, I make up for in enthusiasm.
Anyway, big challenges. So you took on lots of things because you had lots of amazing opportunities come your way, which, it's a two-sided coin, right? Like you're super excited because you've got all these wonderful things that you're wanting to do, but then you've got too many things that you're wanting to do.
Yeah. And it was interesting though, because like within, so I'd always thought at some stage I would like to be more involved in academia and lecture or be involved in that way.
Really? You like talking about things?
Especially
in front of people?
Facts and stats.
Yeah, I wonder, I never would have guessed.
Yes, I like facilitating learning.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. Do you know what Melissa said to me just before we recorded this podcast? She was like, I've got some really great quotes and some really good statistics. And I'm like, of course you fucking do.
Nerd. And proud.
Yeah. So your nerd ability. So you knew you were always going to get into lecturing, get back into it after China.
Yeah. I definitely thought that was something I wanted to do more of. I realize now maybe it's not.
Why not?
I think it would be if I had to pick up someone else's course and deliver that.
Yeah, okay.
And so that makes it a little bit harder because you've got to learn the content and you've got to read the textbook because the savvy students will
read ahead.
Yeah, not all of the students will. Like the 2% top students will absolutely do all of the readings. They'll read the textbook. They'll be super prepared. So you just got to be a week or two ahead.
I'm not going to lie. I'm fairly certain a few of your nerdy students listen to this podcast because there was a bit of a spike in listeners when you first started teaching.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
I reckon I know who it is. Yeah. Hi. But they're probably the ones that I'm still in touch with.
Yeah. Good. So you enjoyed like some of them.
Oh, I love so in terms of the bits that I loved were student engagement was epic. Like really inspired by the students actually. Loved the dynamic in class, great conversations, really, really cool. What I didn't enjoy was the structure of the course itself and the courses themselves and the series of assessments and the amount of grading that comes with that.
When are you going to talk about the marking?
That nearly killed me.
How many assignments did you mark?
So what I did is because I wanted to break, like, for me, I was trying to think about, like, when I'm doing training for a big hike or something like that, I normally break down a training plan and kind of have little milestones of achievement along the way. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to stay the course of this semester and stay ahead of the curve, I kind of need to know how many papers I've got to mark and when, so I can make sure I've got time aside to do all of this. So I had to tally up all of the assessments and all the grading I had to do. It was over 800. And so literally when I took a semester break and went to New Caledonia, I was grading papers. And that bit I found really challenging. So I think it comes back to, the conversation we had in your, when they did the deep dive on your 2023 career challenge, was when you know yourself and you can play to your strengths, you can actually perform at your best. When you aren't able to, it actually feels like it actually takes energy rather than gives you energy.
Oh, yeah.
And so while I am competent at grading papers and being in the detail and all of that, it's not what I enjoy. What I enjoy is designing the course. And
what do you mean you don't enjoy reading 800 of the same thing?
Yeah. What was really nice is a friend of mine who also lectures, he was like, you need to do a calibration while you're grading because you will grade way more harshly.
On the first few?
No, later, because you've heard the same argument 20 times. So you're like, nah, buddy, you get low marks. I've heard it all before.
So I TA'd for a leadership course while I was at uni, and it was all for aviation students. So they had to do a diploma in business, or I don't know, diploma in aviation had some leadership stuff in it. So I was the TA, and I had to mark 80 assignments every week. And they would always have to do different things. But the one that burned into my brain was reading 80 assignments, all based on how great Rob Fife was from Air New Zealand. And it was like just all these 80 nerdy flyboys who had just decided that Rob Fife was the greatest man that ever existed. And they all wrote love letters to him, basically. And I was like, by the time I got through the 80th one, I was like, fuck Rob Fife. Cut that into TikTok.
Yeah, and I think also by all measures, everything I've heard about Rob Fife is really good, so you might want to take that back.
Look, apparently, according to these guys, he is the second coming of God. So, great. Anyway, so your assignment.
Okay, so neither of us enjoy grading.
No, fucking hate it. Playing to strengths.
Yeah,
admin's not your favorite thing.
It is not. And also what's really not my favorite thing is having to keep to a schedule and a timeline that's imposed on me. And I know this. I know this well.
And
so,
you became a lecturer.
I said yes. So luckily the awesome students and the welcome I had at UC was epic. And so there was so much of it that I actually really loved. So it was such a good experience, but I would think differently if I were to approach it again. So I think the big challenge though was just I was overcommitted. Like I did not have a break. I did not have a weekend off for 5 months. I just had to, it was work.
Be text Melissa and I'll be like, what are you doing? And she's like, it's midnight and I'm still on a Friday and I'm still grading.
That is a true story. And over
Jesus
several
Christ.
weekends.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I was faffing around. I just had taken on too many things. And I think the big insight for me is that I would rather let myself down than let other people down. Yeah. And that was the thing that you brought up in yours as well. Yeah. It's like,
you've got to put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yeah, and I think what was really good is I didn't trade off my health.
Yeah.
So I absolutely feel really proud of the fact that my health did stay a priority, and I am really committed to recovery as a part of top performance. So I did make sure that I looked after nutrition, I looked after having some downtime. Yeah. But it did mean I couldn't, socialize as much. I certainly wasn't outside hiking. I certainly wasn't going away as much. I probably wasn't as adventurous.
Melissa is the type of person who will disappear for 2 weeks, 2 days on a random in the middle of a week.
Correct.
And it's all on her schedule, and her schedule doesn't follow a normal 9 to 5 Monday to Friday.
No.
And when Melissa goes and gets normal jobs, my brain goes, but why?
Yeah, she won't cope with this. Actually, during the first few lockdowns, when consulting work dried up and board work was really demanding. And I was like, shit, income's really tight. Do I need to get a job? Cass was like, what? Don't say that.
And look, I'm supportive of all things, but I'm also just like, we know from history that it's not something you enjoy.
It's not. So actually, now that we say that, so out of this whole, big challenge of 2023, the other insight that came out of it is I ended up doing this piece of client work at the same time as I started lecturing.
Yeah.
And I loved the client work more than I've loved any client work probably ever before.
Amazing.
Yeah, to the point where I was like, I want to keep working here.
I love this story because it's just basically like, I had all these wonderful things, but I had too many.
Yeah, it really was.
It's great.
This is not a complaint.
No.
I'm very grateful.
No, it's just a challenge, right?
It was just a challenge. It was
can
like,
still be like, you can have so much positivity that it's toxic, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And yet to figure out how to clone myself.
Yeah.
So,
aren't we all?
Yeah. So it was very challenging. So it's been, I definitely felt really fatigued. And I think that's why, I'm probably a bit tongue in cheek in the first episode. We both said that we enjoyed our COVID enforced jail time.
Oh, yeah.
But actually what was really nice is that it was after I'd finished all my grading and submitted all my papers and, that work had been completed. And so that's where I sat down and went, okay, what am I going to take from this year into 2024? And what I realized is that I have this real thing around, if I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And that came at the expense of things I maybe enjoy because I was putting my work commitments ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
And so my enjoyment outside of work was probably less, but my career and work enjoyment was really high. And I don't want to, I made those choices in my 20s when I did my MBA and I was commuting from Sydney to Brisbane and, doing big roles and big hours. I made a choice then that I would work that way to build a good foundation early, but I don't want to work like that now. Like that is not my priority now. So definitely resetting. So one of the things I do usually every year is take 2 days, early December, and set my kind of strategic plan for my businesses for the following year. And so it was actually really well timed to kind of have this manic, crazy chapter, have COVID jail, come out of COVID jail and sort of ease back into things and have a couple of days in Akaroa with literally take some felt pens and some A3 paper and sketch out, mind map, draw what are the lessons learned, what am I taking forward, how would I kind of like to design 2024 around career and well-being, and kind of doing a wheel of life and then setting some intention around those areas so I don't fall back into that behavior. So
nice.
So I actually feel like it's landed in a really good place.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot.
What things are you going to put in place next year or 2024 to help you choose what those opportunities are? Because positive opportunities tend to attract more positive opportunities. So I can't imagine that it's going to slow down any. So how do you choose? How do you protect yourself, still take the opportunities and feel like you're not missing out on anything? FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO. Be super nerdy and go back to having a decision matrix, which is literally writing out all the things that are important to me on the left-hand side and then weighting each of those and then evaluating opportunities against those to get to a kind of like a go, no-go. I mean, I've used that tool for years. I didn't use it this year because everything just felt really good. And so I was like, oh, amazing.
And then suddenly you're sitting there at 1 o'clock on a Saturday morning
grading papers,
marking your 800th one, and you're just like,
800th case study about good water. And I was like, no, I made a mistake. This was on me.
And we all make mistakes. We all make choices.
Yeah.
So decision matrix.
Yeah, I think that's a good tool when I'm kind of conflicted. But that's a new thing has come to me. What I've been able to do is realize that moving forward, the client work that I've been doing that I've really loved, I want to keep doing that. Yeah. And so I've been talking, they've extended my contract till the end of this year. We're talking about in 2024 if that could be maybe like a permanent part-time role. We're just still working through what that starts to look like. But it's made me realize that I potentially could move back into a full-time role if the parameters were right. So I really love being in an organization that is really looks after their people, is quite growth focused in a good way, like not growth focused and slashes and burns people.
Yeah.
Has a great culture and with a team that I can learn from.
Yeah.
People that I respect, and this organization has that. Like, it's been really interesting. It's in that sort of engineering and technology field, so it's kind of all my worlds have come together.
Yeah.
And I've completely nerded out, and I really love it. Like, it's probably the first time in a decade so I've been sort of working there since July, in a part-time capacity. As I'm driving there, I'm looking forward to going and doing the work.
Right.
Which is such a nice feeling.
Yeah.
That is such a long time since I felt like that.
Rather than it being something on your to-do list or this meeting that you have to go to or all of those things.
Yeah. And do you know what they do really well there is they really respect people's well-being.
Right.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
So if I was there and I said, hey, I'm feeling really fatigued, I need to go, can we reschedule? There would be a resounding, absolutely, how else can we support you?
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
Nice. And in terms of it being a job.
No, don't say the J word.
Well, no, I think that's the difference is what parameters have you put around it and what stuff have you worked on with them to make sure that you are still able to live your authentic I need freedom self.
Like, we're off to Arthur's Pass for 2 nights with my tent.
Yeah, because I can imagine knowing you, it would be one of the things that like really made it hard.
Yeah.
If you had to sit at a desk for 8 hours.
I couldn't. So I definitely couldn't do a 9 to 5 work in an office job. And I think what makes this one really work is they're not like that either. So it's a flexible working environment. Have an anchor day.
Right.
Most people like coming to the office. It's a really nice office culture.
Yeah.
But there's no, and you know what? I think it's the whole thing around, in leadership, there's a saying that, a fish rots from the head. So the culture of the organization reflects the leadership.
Yeah.
And I think because the managing director is someone who values health and well-being and lives those values and has a life outside of work.
Yeah.
Everyone, he gives everyone else permission to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice. Like, you'll often see people in the office walking around in cycling gear. I'm not saying that's a good thing.
Like, I don't know whether I want to see my colleagues in lycra.
Yeah, not saying that's
love you guys, but no. No.
I think just what it gives is it's quite it's a relaxed environment.
Yeah.
Your whole self comes first. They genuinely look after each other, and it's just a good vibe.
Yeah.
And so what that enables is for me to have a conversation, which is, so for me to add value here in this organization, for me to be my best, I can't do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, week in, week out. That is not me. What I can give you is a couple of anchor days every week if that's what you need, and remote the rest of the time and flexi. And they're like, yeah, that sounds great.
So it really is the product of you trying lots of different things until you found the right fit.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't looking for a permanent contract or to work with an organisation long term. I was very happy to just sort of keep consulting and keep things moving forward.
Yeah.
I just literally, every conversation, I'm like, they're doing work that's really meaningful. That combines my, the early sort of 15 years of my career in engineering with the latter part of the last 10 years in technology. And I'm like, this is awesome.
What is it? Because I, for me, you can logically tick a whole lot of boxes, right? But I have to feel something to be able to be like, oh no, like this is like, I feel good.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this. What does it feel like for you? Like when did that feeling happen? And when were you just like, oh fuck yeah.
Like literally when I met the head of people and culture, I was like, she's a really good person and she's someone I'd want to be friends with.
Oh, awesome.
Then she introduced me to the managing director and I was like, we are so aligned around how product and strategy and marketing can work.
It comes back to the stuff we were talking about when we were talking about fit of your style with the organization and how important it is. Like, yes, we can all go and get a job. It's like a relationship, right? You can all go and get a boyfriend. You can all go and get a girlfriend. You can all go and do that thing. But to find the right one, you actually have to find what you want and find the right fit organization to make it a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think as part of that, sort of what environments do I like working in? I love big business. I love multinational listed companies that are quite global in their view, and that's what this company is.
Yeah.
And they do work that's meaningful.
Do you think that your clarity and your understanding of what you like and what you enjoy has helped you recognize it quicker in organizations?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. I think getting it wrong a few years ago when I did a part-time contract role in the tourism sector made me go, it has to be work that's meaningful. I personally struggled working in tourism. That's not a sector that I've had experience in or it aligns with me personally.
Yeah.
I like the nerdy stuff. I like the engineering and the tech.
If you can weld it, you're in it.
Yeah, if you can make it, if you can machine it, if you can 3D print it, this is awesome. Like it's literally mechatronics engineers, mechanical, hardware, software engineers. Like it's the most, but also that's familiar to me. You know? So I know how to work in those environments. So part of it is coming back to my foundation of my career, where it's really normal for me to work in those environments, and it's allowing me to use a whole lot of skills that I developed that I don't often get to use, like even leading a team and working cross-functionally and supporting the European sales team. I'm like, that is stuff that I don't get to whip out of the toolkit that often anymore. Yeah. And I have spent years developing those skills, and it's actually really nice to be able to be like, I know how to add value here.
Like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Whip it out of the toolkit. I didn't mean whip it out like that. Good Lord.
Kelsey.
You did it. Your face did that, not me. Anyway. So in terms, you say you're coming back to that world. When was the last time you used that toolkit?
Oh, yeah. A little bit. Leading sort of cross-functional teams and projects when I did that other sort of fixed-term contract back in 2017.
Okay, so it's been
a long time. Yeah. And, and that wasn't technical product, whereas, I used some of those things in my own ventures, but being able to sort of step into an organization and feel like we're all rowing the boat in the same direction and I get to jump in and add some weight to the boat has actually been good weight. Like making it faster. I was like, hang on. Like, as in I'm putting some power into the boat, not slowing it down because I'm just cruising back like in a gondola in Venice.
You and I thought of two very different boats.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I was just like full waka.
Yeah, I was like in a rowing because I did rowing for years.
Yeah. Okay.
So initially I was in an 8 and I'm like, if I'm adding weight to an 8 and I'm not contributing, hang on, I meant contributing. Yeah, this boat analogy is not working for me.
No, it's not.
No.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
I've lost it.
And hey, look, this is why you come to the Careering Podcast, because you never know where we're going to end up.
Yeah, it's a little bit of nonsense, a little bit of insight,
a whole lot of bullshit.
Yeah, and now we've got good microphones, so you can hear us clearly,
and it makes it even better. Yeah. So for 2024,
yes,
still going to try lots of different things, or focusing in
stripping it right back in 2024. So I've actually, the trade-off was, even though I sort of had some balance, like I really prioritized my health still, it wasn't the standard I wanted it to be at. So for 2024, my focus is on actually one of my big rocks is going to be health and moving that forward in the way I want it to.
When you say big rocks, are you talking about the jar analogy?
Yes.
If you don't know the jar analogy, I'm just like,
some people, rocks, what am I doing?
People must be like, why the fuck is she talking about rocks? If you don't know the jar analogy, it talks about how you need to have different size of activity and things in your life to fill it up with in the right way and prioritize the right things. Yeah. So you can have bigger rocks are the most important things, and then you put in the pebbles, and then you can put in the sand, and you can put in water, and it just goes on and on and on, and it's all the different ways that you can fill up your life.
Yeah, and the challenge is if you don't figure out what the big rocks are, you can add the sand and the water and it will make your jar full.
And then you
have
just
them
end up with a
prioritise.
shit ton of sandy water.
Yeah. So I don't think I got sandy water this year. I
No.
think I definitely had some good.
I think you had too many rocks for your jar.
I had too many pebbles
Yeah.
without getting clarity on the rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
This analogy is working better than the boat one.
Look, our analogies are rough at best.
So yeah, one of my big rocks for next year is that health and
To
well-being.
have big rocks.
Big rocks. Yeah, yes, to be intentional about the big rocks.
Yeah.
So health and well-being will be one. Doing meaningful work
Yeah.
and completing some chapters. So that'll be some of my other ventures and the book for career and getting that completed. I haven't even opened it once this year. I've got a 70,000 word book that's finished.
Just sitting there.
That's just sitting there. So I want that published in 2024.
Yeah.
So the other things that I'm really clear about, which means there isn't room for other things.
Great.
So there's like a 5% window and I'll be really selective about what comes into that. So I'm stepping off one of the boards I've been on. Really stripping some stuff back, which actually I feel really good about because I really love what's on my plate now for 2024.
Amazing.
Yeah, I actually feel like even though I don't think it's been an amazing year, but it's actually been a really good year.
I feel like this year there's a real common theme, like we were just talking about it with a friend before. There's a real common theme of people getting a lot of clarity in 2023 around working through the shit and coming to this point and going, I have more of that and less of that, thank you. And getting clarity on things. Yeah.
That's so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
cheers to 2024.
Fuck yeah. So that is the end of episode 3 in our season 2. As always, if you want to find us, come and talk to us on Instagram, come and talk to us on Facebook, on the TikTok. And of course, there's the website and the email address as well. We will also let you know when Melissa finishes that book, right, Melissa?
Yes, and also feel free to invite us to drinks at Delilah because we love it there.
Yes, Melissa and I hold that bar up frequently. So if you have any thoughts, have anything that you want us to talk about, just let us know. And yeah, rate us 5 stars, follow us on all the things, and we'll be back next week. Okay, bye.